Ayan! Hello everybody! Nagbabalik na naman ang host nyo, si Kix. I am Kix. I'm an OT and I'm going to be one of your hosts today. And welcome to Season 3 of OTalakayan, PAOT's online interview program where we tackle different topics about OT and mental health. And with me is my co-host for the past sessions. Hi, Jeff!
Hello, Kicks. Okay, so I'm Jeffrey again and your host for this afternoon. Kicks, the past Otalakayan episodes this season gave us somehow a breath of fresh air as we discuss matters related to mental health. Those were topics that are
Mhm.
not usually heard of, especially on events or conferences, focusing much on theoretical or clinical knowledge and practice.
That is true, Jeff, no? Kasi to add, no, I remember reading in the statistics ng PAOT of all the practitioners in the country, no, those who practice mental health are only composed of 10 to 12% of all the country's practitioners. So as we can see, no, there is plenty of room. There's plenty of room for us who wants to practice in mental health. As I believe, no, di ba, during this pandemic, there is growing cases of mental health that needs attention, that needs help. And, di ba, as what I mentioned nung nakarang session, we are becoming more and more aware about the value of mental health during this time of the
Mm.
pandemic. So can we have a
Yeah,
recap
and
of our, yeah, yan.
Yeah. To add to that, I know that you're one of those who are, also aspiring to become a mental health
Yeah.
practitioner. Okay. And speaking of recap, so last episode, Van and Diane joined us to tackle about financial stress and how we can cope with it. My key takeaways that time are one, we need to educate ourselves financially because at the end of the day, it is us who better knows our financial status and capabilities. Two, financial management as an IEDL doubles as a life skill. And so, students and professionals may benefit from being more literate about this. And three, have an emergency fund in case of financial crisis.
At naalala ko nun, Jeff, no, after the session, sobrang napawawa ko na there is so much more about financial management than meets the eye, not just for helping our patients, but also ourselves to keep us stable, lalo na during this pandemic. Because if we are not healthy, if we're not able to keep ourselves stable, how much more can we help the people who need us, no? And that is important din to note because ngayong ating session, we're going to deal about practicing mental health. So can you tell us, Jeff, no, ano ba yung i-expect natin sa session natin today?
Well, for today's session, we're gonna learn a lot about OT and mental health. So later, our esteemed speakers will talk about OT, MH practice, and their experiences through the years. I think our guests for this afternoon are much into this area of practice, which OTs do not really much dwell into. And then we'll also learn later the strengths of mental health practice among OT practitioners in the country. What else can we learn pa kaya from this episode?
At the same time, no, while they're sharing their experiences, they can also share yung speakers natin, yung mga bigate na speakers natin, no, they will share their perceived challenges and threats in OT mental health para syempre ma-perceive para maging handa tayo in case we are going to try this practice. This area of practice dito sa Philippine setting natin. And lastly, they're going to encourage. Siyempre, they're going to share us their valuable knowledge, their encouraging remarks, no? Why this is a good time for us to practice mental health here in this current state of pandemic.
All right. So I think we can now introduce our esteemed speakers for this afternoon's episode. Our first speaker is Teresita C. Mendoza. a fellow of the Philippine Academy of Occupational Therapists, no, a former professor at the University of the Philippines, Manila, a clinical supervisor, and a mentor to many occupational therapists, including me and students. So again, let's welcome Ma'am Tess. Hello, Ma'am Tess.
Hi, Ma'am Tess. Ayan. Ayan. Actually, by mentor OTs, naalala ko na I was one of her interns. Tapos talagang feel ko na, seeing Ma'am Tess looking at the poster na magiging part siya ng session to, parang wow, amazing, it's gonna be Ma'am. Wala, parang kinikilig lang talaga ako, sorry. Ayun.
Thank you, Kids.
Napa-react agad siya.
Yeah,
Yeah.
namumula na ako, guys. Hindi lang halata,
Oh.
nangingitim na ako. Thank you, Ma'am
Thank you
Tess.
for inviting me in this OTalakayan.
Ayan. For our for our second speaker, his name is Jermaine Prieto. He is 21 years in practice na rin. No? Gala nagka-practice, he is also the head of the occupational therapy section of the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Medicine, Ward 7 sa Philippine General Hospital, O, di ba, na-stutter na ako, na-amaze talaga ako eh. And he's also an OT consultant at New Aces Therapy Center. Hi, Sir Jerry. Wow, PGH talaga background ah.
Hello. Andito na ako sa Taft eh. Hindi, joke lang. Pardon yung mask, no? Kasi nasa clinic ako eh. I was actually one of those na mga unang na-inspire kay Ma'am Tess. Kasi si Ma'am Tess ay advisor ko when I was in college. Kaya yung nalaman ko na si Ma'am Tess was originally also part of yung mental health practice. Sabi ko, yun ay gusto kong pasukin. So naunahan ko ako yung na ma-inspire sa kanila.
Oh. Yeah. Hello, Sir Jerry.
Hi,
And
Sir
thank you for
Jerry.
accepting our invite. And our third speaker for this afternoon is Sir Andres San Gabriel III. Okay, he's been practicing for 19 years as an occupational therapy clinical supervisor at the National Center for Mental Health. So let's welcome again Sir Andy. Hello, Sir Andy.
So, good afternoon guys. It's actually an honor for me na makatabi at yung palang mga speakers natin na to. So, it's actually an honor to be speaking with you guys right now.
Yeah, and thank you also, Sir Andy, for accepting our invite. I think you'll be able to share a lot to our viewers regarding the practice of OT mental health, especially on the perspective of NCMH. Okay, thank you again, Sir Andy. We also have two reactors for this. One reactor for this
This
episode,
episode,
rather.
ayan.
Ayan. So let us welcome on screen Bree, an OT intern from Cebu Doctors University. Hello, Bree.
Hi, Bree. Welcome back.
Hello po. Hi. Yeah. I'm an intern from Cebu Doctors University, and as a student, I've always been interested in the mental health practice. So I'm looking forward to this discussion and interview.
All right. I hope you considered this area of practice after this episode. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be calling you once again for your comments or reactions about the topic.
Thank you, sir.
So once again, welcome to our wonderful speakers for joining us this session. Na talaga nakakilig kasi Sir Tess, Sir Jerry, ay, Ma'am Tess,
Ma'am
nagpa-sir
Tess.
pa ako, di ba? Kinikilig. Nakikita niyo yung kilig ko, guys. Ma'am Tess,
Tuwa-tuwa si
Sir,
Kix.
like ito yung mga, like if I may share something, back when I was an intern and even as I was growing as a practitioner, ito yung mga iniisip kong mga how to be you po. Ito yung mga lodi, kumbaga, ngayon nag-aspire ako for mental health practice. So ako personally, I think I will be reacting then in our session. I will be part of the reactionary team. Kasi ako rin as an aspiring occupational therapist in the mental health, I want to learn your insights then. All of us want to learn your insights. So it's amazing kasi we have a lot of participants in our session. There are about, here in our session, there are about more than 30 participants. Can you open your camera so we can see your faces, everybody? Ayan, may nag-open ba? Ayun, hi everybody. Welcome to our session. Ayan, wag kayo mahiya
Yeah.
mag-share yung ano. We want to see your beautiful
Yeah.
faces in our session. Ayan.
Yeah,
So,
because later we're gonna engage them no, with our OTalakayan. No, talagang gagawin natin yung talakayan later. No? But for those who
talakayan.
cannot turn on their videos, okay lang din naman. No? So, but we would appreciate no, if you would participate no, later in our discussion. Okay? Ayan. Ang daming beautiful faces ngayon dito sa Zoom. Ayan. So before we start our first question, I would like to invite the viewers to share their questions by sending a message to the questions crew so we can ask them to our speakers. We'd love to have an open conversation and to hear your thoughts. Okay. So for those who want then later, now we may ask you to turn on your video and audio so that you can personally ask then your questions to our speakers. Okay. So let's go to our first question. Okay, Kix, maybe you can ask the first question.
All right. So, syempre, no, seeing that you were practicing for such a long time na, we wanted to know a bit about yourself. So, we want to know how did you start in the field of OT mental health practice, and how was your experience here in our setting, or kung saan man po kayo napunta. Maybe we can start off with our talagang mentor, Ma'am Tess.
Okay. Kapag ako nagsalita, history lang sisimulan ko. Good afternoon to all the participants in this autumn. So probably you would like to know how I started. Siyempre, lahat tayo we enrolled in this PSOT program. And our curriculum before was very much different from what the curriculum we have now. Yung talent curriculum namin before was patterned under the US talaga siya. Kumbaga. But then, I would like to focus on my training and the faculty members who were my mentors. So I would like to boast of, unang-una, Professor Charlotte, who is really a mental health advocate and really an advocate for our faith. And we have the likes of Shelton Master, Marite Belen, and Melissa Yang, Susan Villegas, and Ruth Gelfand. And a lot of majority of these faculty members are into mental health or psychosocial OT before. No, we used to refer to it as psychosocial OT. But then, so, and if you look at the history of OT, it started in psychiatry. We are very strong in psychiatry. And I would like to share with you our clinical training before are we have two clinical training centers. One is, of course, Part 7. And then we were assigned to different private hospitals. Like I was assigned to St. Luke's Medical Center, St. Luke's Hospital, and the medical center. So makita nyo, our clinical affiliations were really into mental health. Ang other affiliations namin, isa lang for PEDIA, it was only ELS. And then for adults, it was PGH and also with PEDIA. And then for physical discomforts, we have the National Orthopedic Hospital. So yun lang yung affiliation namin. Meron pa pala yung sa San Lazaro, Jose Reyes Memorial Medical Center, ito yung mga first hospitals with psychiatric wards. And of course, the National Center for Mental Health or the ano ba yung old ano niya National Psychopathic Hospital pa siya tawag. So, yun yung mga ano namin, exposures. So, as OTs, we were really very strong in mental health, in psychosocial. So, that molded me na among our batch, two of my classmates became clinical supervisors in ward 7. One in Makati Medical, she opened the OT sections in Makati Medical. So yung batch namin, medyo leaning towards psychiatry. And after I graduated, I did not go into psych first, mental health. My first love was really going into community-based OT practice. So I was working at the Comprehensive Community Program in Bailog. So if you're working in the community, so CBI yun first. But then, as an OT, you are not, you practice both in physical disabilities and psych. And when you go on home visits, hindi lang naman yun, there you see na nakatago or itinatago nila yung mga taong may psychiatric. So, the more that I felt, why? We can do something for them. No? We can do something for them. Even though we see a lot of children and adults with physical dysfunction. Makikita mo talaga that very strong yung stigma when it comes to persons with psychiatric disorders. And as OTs, we can do something about it. And doon yung role mo, even if you are in the community, you explain to them. You start giving them information na meron po tayong magagawa dyan sa kamag-anak niyo o sa anak niyo. So, there, nandun yung mga referrals. So, nakita nila na we can refer. Kasi the training in the Bai Laguna Comprehensive Community Health Program, it's a training program for all the medical and allied health courses of UP Manila. So there, I was already exposed yung working in a team. So we visit, I became a supervisor there, not only OT, because I was the one who started the OT in Bai Laguna, OT in the community in Bai Laguna. And Professor Magaliona was the one who started the physical therapy, the rehab. So yan yung CBR program natin. Yan yung simula ng CBR program natin dito sa Pilipinas. So, yun yung history. And so, ang inaano ko nga, yung leaning ko towards mental health is very strong. Kasi community rin. Because when you're working in the community, you're not branded na a physisto or sector. You are there as an occupational therapist, whoever and what type of cases you see, then you attend and provide service. And yun din itinuturo namin sa estudyante before. And that was also a chance when you work with the other disciplines, nakikita nila, ay pwede rin pala kayo for patients with psychiatric disorders. Makita mo talaga, even with children, with adults, na merong mga ganung conditions. So that's how I started my love for mental health. And then after 10 years in Bai Laguna, I was invited to teach na in camp. Although I was still part of camp kasi I was supervising. So there, while in camp, doon ako nabigyan na my load was always for human development and that's like 2 parts kasi yan, OT in physics and OT in psych. So I've been teaching OT in psychiatry and psychosocial dysfunction since then. And that was my role. Other than teaching, I also supervise. Kasi no, may ano pa tayo eh. We send students to National Center for Mental. So I really coordinated with the NCMH before. I go there twice a week to supervise. And galugad ko yung NCMH. Yung Pavilion 1, Pavilion 2, yung acute, yung doon sa likod na for adolescent, and the one for yun sa drugs, those with drugs. I don't know kung nagkita tayo, Andy, before when I was visiting NCMH. But I was closely supervising students there. Talagang, yun siguro yung ano ko becoming, hindi ako talaga nag-work na directly affiliated in a hospital. But ang feeling ko, even if you supervise in class, you're also handling. Kasi you have to know the patient. You have to discuss the case with the students. So that way, it's, ano yun it's learning both ways. You learn as you go to the clinics. And this is what I teach to the students as well. So nakikita mo, hindi lang yung clinical picture, classical picture, but talaga yung clinical picture na di-describe mo kung paano nag-behave yung patient. So yun na muna, I'll end to that. So yun talaga. Later, siguro may other experiences I can share, the latest. Pero that's how I started. So simula pa lang. Siguro it's more of my personality na to be in mental health practice. It takes a certain kind of personality to be in a mental health practice. Thank you. Para the others can share.
Wow, Ma'am Tessa, that's wonderful. Parang we're looking into the ano rin, history of OT in the country. No? I
Yeah.
think Andy wants to say something about your comment a while ago if you have met before.
Actually, unfortunately, hindi ko siya naabutan si Ma'am Tess doon. So, nasa NCMH ako mga 2001, Ma'am Tess.
Ah,
Apo.
Mm.
Nasa ganong time siya.
that's okay.
Mm-mm.
Mhm. But anyway, no, the world of OT naman is parang small. No? So parang anytime, no, anywhere, no, parang we meet, no. And now here in Zoom, no, many mental health practitioners have the opportunity to interact, no, and talk about this topic. No, but anyway, Ma'am Tess, no, with what you said a while ago, no, you actually started more on community work, no, CBR. No? And then what caught my attention was during that time, the stigma was really high, no? To the point that they hide or sabi nyo nga po, tinatago no, yung
Mm-mm.
mga
Mm-mm.
patients or clients
Yes.
with psychosocial
Mm-mm.
dysfunction. So I just wonder, no, just a follow up lang po with that. How do OT, no, during that time try to actually convince people to seek mental health services? Because yeah, the stigma during that time was very high. So how was it po?
So we educate, no, we inform na kasi natatakot sila kasi ang feeling nila mananakit, diba? Usually, this types of patients are very aggressive or they have the tendency to hurt other people. So, diniscuss namin yung condition. But, and then, start na rin yung history, paano nagsimula yung condition ng patient, nung kamag-anak. Kasi, ano yan iba-iba. Not only in Bai Laguna, we also saw cases when we transferred to Montalban. So, nakakita rin kami. I have some interns with me and we visited. Bata pa po, adolescent child na makita mo talaga na tinatali nila. Yung nakikita niyo sa TV na ano. So, yun. So, and then we explain. So, that's how we discover. Ano muna yan? We inform them about the condition. And then, sabi nga namin, kasi we are in the team, pwede po nating i-refer. Kasi may referral because this is a UP program. And you can always refer the patient. Pwede po natin siyang bilhin. Kung gusto nyo matingnan ng doktor, matutulungan namin kayo. So that's how it is. Kailangan lang nila ng explanation. Kasi kung minsan, akala nila, siguro, nasawi kasi yan sa pag-ibig. Diba sometimes, ganun mga start ng ibang conditions. Diba? They go into depression. Or, basta everything na merong stressful o nagkaroon ng trauma, psychological trauma, then you have to explain to them. Pero lang naman yun yung approach natin in the community, at the community level. Kailangan ng education of the parents and of the community na huwag silang matatakot kung meron man silang kapitbahay. The more na kailangan nilang tulong. Sa feeling nila ng family, na sila natatakot sila na palabasin, pero if you give them already some pointers kung paano tulungan, then, and I'm sure maraming tao na nangangailangan at the community. Hindi lang natin sila nakikita sa ospital or sa mga maraming sa.
Yeah. And I think until now, no, Ma'am Tess, no, parang there's a need to further educate pa rin our community.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a need to educate. Oo. So, yun ang nagkukulang tayo dun sa mga information dissemination. So, paano ba makisalamuha sa mga tao may mga information? Sabi nga nila, sakit sa isip. Pero hindi lang sakit sa isip. Kundi sa damdamin nila na nasaktan. Nagmamanifest lang dun sa behavior nila. And yun yung aanahin natin, di ba? Yung coping skills. Paano mo tutulungan yung tao maging maagad. Bumalik yung dignity niya, yung titiwala niya sa sarili. Yun yung goal natin as education. Di ba? The self-esteem and the self-concept should be strengthened. Not only for the patient, but also the family.
Feel na feel ko yung big heart, no, to actually serve, no, the families, no. And then
Ramdam, no?
and yes, and parang sabi nga nila, 'di ba, the necessity, no, parang it brings a lot of inventions, no. Necessity is the mother of inventions. I think for Ma'am Tess, no, if I may comment, parang there's a necessity, no, to actually address no, the mental health needs, no, of the family and the community. Yeah, so that's inspiring. I hope our viewers then can also learn, no, from this na there's a need na talaga for mental health services, and maybe we as OT can actually be of help to them. No? So I think marami pang ikikwento si Ma'am Tess.
Mamaya, bigyan niyo muna ng chance yung iba na magsalita.
Sige, let's hear naman from our other speakers. So, sino po sa inyo gusto mag-start? Sir Jerry or Sir Andy? Okay, Sir Jerry.
Okay. Sa akin naman, actually, medyo semi by accident. I had a very wonderful experience during clinical internship training. No, I started out with CTS pediatrics. So sabi ko, nakakatawa pala to. And actually, that was strange for me at the beginning kasi yung yung least ako exposed before internship, no, in terms of practicum. So it was a very enriching experience. I learned to love yung pedia practice. So sabi ko, I could envision myself in pedia practice. Tapos ang next ko, private clinic in Makati, sabi ko, I definitely can see myself there. Yung sumunod doon, Ward 5. Toxic, marami, napakaraming kaso, ang daming procedure and strategies. Pero sabi ko, I could do this every day. I love yung variety and everything. So sabi ko, now I am torn. Kung pedia practice ba ang gusto ko, office this. Then Ward 7 happened. No? Sa Ward 7, doon ko nakita talaga yung tulad ng sabi ni Ma'am Tess, yung stigma, yung lack of education pa rin sa clients, di ba? Even the professional bias. yung professionals mismo, parang sometimes hindi appreciated what OT is, sometimes hindi alam ano ginagawa ng OT. So, I felt bad and sad, no? Kasi sabi ko, ba't ganun? When I was studying sa camp, ang turo nila, sila ano pa yan, sila Ma'am Inday Kabatan, sila Ma'am Cynthia Isaac, ang turo nila, ang trend daw nitong 90s, destigmatization. Wow, sabi ko. Ang ganda, finally, after several decades of existence ng OT, ang goal na talaga is to destigmatize. Tapos sabi ko, natapos yung aking um, primary college years, mukhang hindi pa rin destigmatized talaga, sabi ko. And it's sad na yung mga kapwa ko pa professionals mismo, sometimes yung source ng stigma. So sabi ko, parang mas gusto ko na ngayon tuloy na ang pasukin ko when I become a professional kung saan ako mas kakailanganin. Tapos, after that, tsaka ako nag-CBR. So sa CBR was like a fulfillment of lahat ng mga techniques and strategies I learned, no, from the clinics, from the hospitals. Kasi sabi ko, now I'm into the real community. This is as real as it gets. Tapos with the limitation of resources. Tapos sabi ko, itong mga tao, hindi lang sila pumunta sa institutions because they know they need help or so na. They're in their communities. And a lot of them, tulad ng sabi ni Ma'am Tess, hindi pa talaga alam kung anong gagawin. So that was when I started forming in my mind na sabi ko, then we have to teach people more. We have to help sa destigmatization by, in a way, normalizing yung concept, di ba, of mental disability. Ganun. But what was funny was, when I graduated, ang unang nakita kong job opportunity was actually in Ward 5, in rehab. So sabi ko, okay, I love my Ward 5 rotation, ang varied ng practice. Tapos ang isang gusto kong i-inject doon, sabi ko, yung mental health element into FISDIS. Kasi yun yung nakita kong parang kulang eh. Sabi ko, ang ganda-ganda ng approach sa physical dysfunction, all the equipment and everything, pero hindi masyadong tinitignan yung mental health ng mga patients with physical disabilities, including yung pedia practice because pedia practice was there. So I actually prepared yung aking application letter, yung resume, ganyan. Tapos on the day when I was supposed to submit it, as fate would have it, yung supervisor ko sa Ward 7, si Ernesto Plata, si Sir John, saw me, sabi niya sa akin, oh, bakit nandito ka? Sabi niya. Di ba wala ka namang makeup? Sabi niya at the time. So sabi ko, yes sir, kasi nabalitaan ko po merong opening sa Ward 5. So gusto ko po mag-try mag-volunteer so I could apply. So sabi niya, bakit dito sa Ward 7 hindi ka nag-apply? Sabi niya. So sabi ko, sorry sir, kasi hindi ko po alam na may opening. So sabi niya, I just passed yung NBCOT. So I'm only going to last until January. If it's okay with you, sabi niya, it is still a year. Pero if okay sa'yo, sabi niya, mag-volunteer ka rin dito. Sabi niya. Di sabi ko, yes sir, I would love that. Actually, mental health was on my mind. Just so happened na yung Ward 5 yung opening. So sabi niya, okay, very good. O akin na yung letter mo sa Ward 5. Gawa ka ng letter dito. So, to cut the whole story short, yun, napunta ako sa Ward 7. I started volunteering there. I actually volunteered for 14 months before I got in. Tapos what was funny was when the department chair at the time asked me, how long do you plan to practice dito sa Ward 7? Ang sabi ko at the time was, sir, a minimum of 2 years. Minimum of 2 years kasi I feel like it would take me a year to acclimatize myself to the professional life here, another year to start making my contribution. So I can promise a minimum of 2 years. So little did I know na 2 decades na actually and I'm still there. Ayan. Diba? So ayun, that's how I started sa Ward 7.
Ayan. Palakpakan nga natin. Ayan. Pwede magpalakpak, guys. Ayan. Let's use our share reactions. This is the perfect time, everybody, to use your thumbs up, Clap your hands, everybody. Yeah. I wanted to share what what Sir Jerry told us, what hit me in such a way, in some way, is we need to normalize the concept of mental disability. No, we need to normalize the concept of mental disability. It's not just minsan kasi in the practice ang na-experience ko is okay, nagiging problema lang ang mental health if you have this diagnosis. If meron kang depression, MDD, di ba? I can see Sir Jerry, Ma'am Tess, they're like nodding, yeah? Because once we have the diagnosis, doon lang minsan tinatarget natin yung mental health eh. But the thing is, mental health goes everywhere, no? It's all encompassing, if that's the proper term for it, no? It's all encompassing. So ako personally, I'm practicing under physical dysfunction as well as in pediatric setting. And what I can say, is yung kids natin at yung mga patients natin with physical dysfunction, they too have their own mental health conditions na kailangan need natin address. But not just them, no? Not just the patient, but the people who are working with them, people who are being with them, no? Yung mga families. Like, one of the things in my practice that nakita ko nung nasi-share sa atin si Sir Jerry at saka si Ma'am Tess is yung mental health, yung concept of mental health sa mga patients natin, it starts with family. It needs further, kumbaga, nahirapan ako maghanap ng words eh. Pero, it's further looking into. If that's the correct term, Jeff. Yun. And, yes, Ma'am Tess, nag-unmute ka po. I feel may sabihin ka po.
And then I would like to follow up yung sinabi ni Jerry. He mentioned John Plata. Just a minute of silence for him. Kasi he already passed away. When he was in PGH, Ward 7, it was a sudden death. Na nanghihinayan kami for his loss because he was really doing well and, promoting OT insight in PGH. So, yun lang ang gusto kong sabihin. Baka huwag natin kalimutan yung pangalan na John Plata from PGH Ward 7, an occupational therapist. Thank you. Naging emotional lang ako nung narinig ko yung pangalan ni John Plata kasi I really admire John.
Thank you, Ma'am Tess. Thank you, Sir Jerry. All right. So, might we also hear from our third speaker, Sir Andy?
Okay, so ako naman medyo simple lang. No? So, my love affair naman sa mental health setting started sa internship na rin. Hello? Okay na ba? Audio-wise? Okay, so prior sa internship kasi, katulad din ako ni Sir Jerry, I am actually leaning towards sa practice ng PEDYA. So, nung nagkaroon nga ng opportunity na mag-internship, so mahilig kasi ako sa bata, sabi ko, PEDYA ang gusto kong pasukin talaga. So, nung nagkaroon ng internship, nabago siya. Dito ako nagkaroon ng change of heart. Kasi pagdating sa PEDYA, yung mga experience ko sa PEDYA, nagkaroon ako ng mga patients kasi dito na medyo hindi maganda yung mga prognosis nila. And yung sa interview natin sa mga parents nga, di ba? Pag tinanong natin, anong goal natin dito sa kid natin, sa anak natin, sinasabi nila gusto po maging normal. Yung hope talaga nila na pag minsan hindi na rin siya talaga naka-align dun sa kung anong meron yung kakayanan, sa anong meron kakayanan yung bata. So ako personally, naawa ako. Sabi ko parang hindi ata ako para dito. So mahilig ako sa bata pero yung mga ganitong sitwasyon hindi ko siya kaya. So then came NCMH naman. So pagpasok sa NCMH, unang ko doon, syempre excited. Tapos very open ako doon. Kasi naging OT naman ako noong mga panahon na yan na wala rin ako idea kung anong OT is pa talaga. So pagpasok ko sa NCMH, excited and at the same time natatakot. Diba? So experience-wise, magastos pala dito. Sabi ko gano'n. Gastos mo activity mo. So yun yung mga unang naging sa akin. Pero doon sa internship na yun, dito ko rin natutunan mahalin tong tong setting na 'to, eh. So, napunta ako na sa Pavilion 1 din, which is, acute adult pavilion siya, male pavilion siya. So, puro lalaki ito. Na karamihan dito charity. So, makikita mo anong mangyayari dito sa mga patients na 'to 'pagka lumabas ito. So, dito mo makikita yung mga scenarios na nag-OT sila, maganda yung OT nila, improve na sila, uuwi sila. Pero bakit pagdating ng ano, eto na naman sila. So, nandiyan eh. So, yung need talaga for yung capacity ng OT natin, yung capability natin sa community. 'Di ba? Sabi nga ni Ma'am Tess, talaga dapat nasa community ito. So, yung follow-up niyan is nasa community. So, dapat pero dire-diretsong transfer pa rin ng services sa community. Eh. So, doon ko nakita yung baka ano pa ang may tutulong ko ngayon as OT dito sa mga patients natin na pagdating sa habang nag-activity sila, nag-i-improve sila, pero pag umuwi sila, nawawala. So, pag umuwi sila, after ilang araw lang, andito na ulit sila, di ba? So, parang nagkakaroon ng vicious cycle din sila. So, anong nangyayari sa labas? So, yun nga, yung problem na wala sigurong mapuntahang iba, yung support system natin sa labas is medyo lacking din talaga. So, dito natin nakikita yung kakulangan din ng mental health na para ma-provide ito sa mga patients natin. So, dun sa part na kung ano yung nagiging impact ng OT sa kanila, na-enjoy ko siya talaga. So, doon pa lang, doon sa rotation ko pa lang yan sa NCMH, sabi ko sa sarili ko, dito ako. So, doon pa lang. Pagka-graduate ko, mag-a-apply ako dito. So, ganun na ako ka-firm nun. So, ngayon, after graduation, pagpasa ng boards, ayun, direct lang apply na ako dyan. So, ganun lang naman kasimple yung aking story dyan.
Thank you, Sir Andy, for sharing your story. No, kung paano kayo napunta as OT no, sa NCMH. I'm just ano lang din, napaisip lang din ako because I'm into mental health din. But for me, parang by accident, napunta ako sa Philippine Mental Health Association naman. No? And as I was listening to our speakers, so si Ma'am Tess sa community, no, nag-start si Sir Jerry sa Ward 5 sana, no, pero sa Ward 7 no, nag-end. No? With you, Sir Andy, I wonder what pushed you na parang mag-apply sa NCMH in the first place? Parang of all the centers during that time, why NCMH?
Siya, ako naman, ang naging basis ko lang talaga noon, yung experience ko nung internship, wala na talaga iba. So, dun sa among the settings na napuntahan ko, so, FISDIS, doon na-enjoy ka rin ng FISDIS, yun nga, sa pagdating sa pediatrics, medyo parang hindi kaya ng dibdib ko yung awang-awa ko sa mga patients natin doon. And ang talagang na-enjoy ko dyan is mental health talaga. So, sabi ko nga, doon pa lang habang nag-ano pa lang ako dyan, na ano ko na sa sarili ko na dito ako pagka-graduate. Pagka ako ng board exam, once na pumasa, dito ako papasok.
Mm-hmm. What I'm getting is, pag we get a connection with our patients, with our clients, parang it follows na we also want to put our passion, our effort in this area of practice. No? I think di naman tatagal ang ating speakers sa area na to for more than a decade. No? If it's not really about the love and passion to do OT in mental health. Anyway, for our viewers, so if you have any questions to our speakers, please type them on the chat box and send it to our questions crew. Then Anya would collect it and then later we'll ask our speakers. Okay. So moving on, okay. In your current affiliations, no, kasi there's the pandemic na nga, no? So how is OT being done in your current settings or in your current situation? No? I think anyone can describe siguro how is it now? No, kasi kanina yung parang history eh. No, so now parang how is it now na po yung practice ng OT. No? And if you may add something about the pandemic, I think that would be helpful.
hindi muna ako magdadagdag sa tanong niya. I would just like to react to what Jerry and Andy said. Dagdag ko lang doon sa mga early years ko na nag-ano sa akin into mental health. Kasi before, we were exposed to, kasi nga, sinabi ni Jerry, paano yung pasyente after, or ni Andy rin, paano pag umuwi yung pasyente sa bahay? One of the programs before, may mga hospitals, may mga connections sa halfway houses. So, parang gano'n, no, na pag na-discharge yung patient from the hospital, they will be, kaya lang ito very limiting kasi those who can only afford to pay a halfway house. No, so it's something. I think even at NCMH, meron ding ano yan yung parang halfway house. Yung parang pay patient ward na dun sila coming from the pavilions. Those who can afford, they bring them to the pay pavilion. And na-exposing kami noon in yung for drugs, detoxification centers. And even we went to visit yung sa Tagaytay before, yung for rehabilitation of drug dependence. Yung there. So, ang dami. So, yan yung exposure namin, no? That these are the areas where OTs can work. And I would like to mention again, Professor Floro. She was connected with the Dangerous Drugs Board. And nag-ano siya na OTs can work with them in DDB. Ma'am Queiroz before was working. Ma'am Queiroz used to be the OT at NCMH. So, Dangerous Drugs Board. So, ibig sabihin, nagtatayo ng mga, in these centers, they needed. And Mrs. Floro, Professor Flor, encouraged OT graduates to work in these settings. And yung mga detoxification, hindi naman sa detoxification centers, but then even for drug dependence, may mga centers kasi that sabihin na natin na OT is always for leisure activities, pero ano yun tool of practice natin yung providing activities. And these are therapeutic activities, is not plainly, and these are life skills to develop their whatever skills they have. So nakikita nyo na marami tayong magagawa for this type of patients na So yung going back dun sa tanong mo ngayon, yung present, I'm retired now. So I cannot see any na I'm actively involved, but then knowing that online lang for those who need help. So I just do that, and also with the work in the PAOP. So I just help for the time being. May limitations na hindi rin ako makalabas because senior na ako. But then anytime na I'm needed, I the help. But I'm aware of what is needed now. We see a lot of cases as an effect of this pandemic. We see a lot of psychological distress. No? Yung mga tao na nagko-complain. But then, kaya nga sabi natin, ito yung challenge for us now in this pandemic. Our role, there's a lot of OTs can do in this pandemic. So very limited yung ko ngayon because of my present situation. But the rest, you can.
I just want to react to what Mom Ted said, with the drugs, with the halfway house, although relatively young practitioner pa ako, communicates. So kumbaga parang I'm also wondering how we OT can actually engage on those kind of work na OT pa rin naman, because in the lectures that we received during college, talagang name-mention yung mga ganyan
Yeah,
na mga
settings.
terms.
Oo.
Mm.
So, Marami. Kasi nga, you don't look at them as drug addicts, but you look at what is their present situation, what is their behavior. And gano'n naman tayo, we evaluate them, not because they are drug dependents, but we evaluate them ano yung presenting problems. And then we act according to what we know as OT. So we plan a program for them. Although, before, yung mga drug rehab centers, they have provided parang leisure recreational activities. So, binibigay lahat ng pwede. Parang psych din na activity ano siya. Ngayon kasi occupation-based na tayo. So, noon kasi activities-based lang yan. So, we do a lot of group activities. Kasi yun ang kailangan nila, social skills training. Andyan pa rin, pumapasok pa rin what we do now.
Yeah.
So, yun yung mga gagawin natin with these cases. And there are some OTs now who are employed in drug rehab centers. No? In Bikutan. I think Kami is. Pero may mga
Yeah.
alam ako na who are into this now. And maganda kasi if more positions will be offered for occupational therapists in these settings. No? And may ko siguro babanggitin yung ibang challenges that we can do, what we can do now in mga settings. Pero yun, it has been happening before. The halfway houses. Meron pa tayong halfway houses where we send some of our interns for observation. You know that center in Cubao, di ba? So there's one. Maraming before yung Estrella, ewan ko kung buhay ko yung Estrella naman. Yun. So, marami halfway houses. All this for psych. Baka hindi lang natin alam. Pero marami. I think Sunrise, yung mga centers who are catering to this type of patients. Yun nga yung limitation. Yung pwede lang magbayad. I hope yung ginagawa ng NCMH, di ba? Yung the institutionalization na you're di ba? Moving towards the communities. Yeah, so yun ang ano. And PMHA, of course.
Yeah.
PMHA has always been part of our before. Hindi siya affiliation center. But then we get to observe kasi PMHA before was a pre-voc training for psych patients. Nire-refer dyan. Tapos may auto dyan. Kaklase yata ni Mrs. Villegas yung auto dyan before. Pre-vocational training. Skills training. So, yan yung mga roles natin eh. Yeah. Para meron silang trabaho after nila na ma-discharge from the hospital kasi hindi na sila pwedeng bumalik sa dati nilang ginagawa. Yes.
I think Sir Andy wants to react to what Ma'am Tess said. Go ahead, Sir Andy.
Actually, tama si Ma'am Tess doon. Sa amin sa NCMH ngayon, siguro a few years back, nagkaroon kami ng isang para proposal ng isang program. Kasi ang talagang problema ng NCMH, di ba? Pag once na si patient nandun at inabandon sila ng family niya, yung burden na pag-take care sa kanila, na iiwan sa NCMH. Ibig sabihin, kahit ready na sila to go out, wala namang paglalagyan sa kanila. So, nag-stay sila doon 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Na kahit pa paano improve na naman na sila. So, for the institutionalization nga, o yung just to decongest, diba? At makita rin natin yung ano pa talaga ang pwede potential itong mga patients natin dito. Actually, nag-propose kami ng isang transition program nga na parang mala halfway in ang dating niya. So dito, i-screen natin yung mga patients na hindi na talaga nakakalabas. Tapos tuturuan natin siya ng mga vocational mismo. And then, itatransfer natin siya dito sa isang transitional house. So itong transitional house naman na to, sila ay yung maggagawa ng mga ano nila doon. So yung gawaing bahay nila doon, sila yung magluluto para sa sarili nila, ganyan. And hihahanap sila ng social worker, hahanapan sila ng katapat na trabaho. So parang yung transitional house na to, so for the duration of the program, titingnan kung kaya nila maging independent. So nagtatrabaho sila pero dito pa rin sila sa transition house na to nakatira. So and still meron silang responsibility na to do chores, 'di ba? To ayusin yung kama nila. So yun yung mga OT parts din natin. So pwede natin i-monitor yung ano ba yung paano ba sila nag-perform sa trabaho nila. Sa bahay paano ba nila nagagawa yung mga kailangan nilang gawin, yung mga tasks or mga tasks na na-assign sa kanila. So yun yung siguro sa yung question ni Sir Jeff kanina. So yung sa question ni Sir Jeff kanina, di ba? So ano ba yung magiging role ng OT dito? So ang OT kasi talaga, occupation-based siya. So basically, titingnan din natin dito yun nga, yung paano sila mag-work, paano sila mag-maintain ng bahay. Until such time na pag graduate sila sa kanilang program, sila na mismo makakahanap na sila ng bahay nila, ang goal nila actually is to live independently na nga. So ganun yung ano natin sa transition house natin.
Sir Andy, thank you for sharing that. Kasi with my limited experience din, no, during internship, talagang we just read, no, from the books, no. Nasi-share lang din ng mga lecturers, no, what happens in a mental health setting. No, but now that I'm a practitioner, no, parang I'm being able to apply more the training na sinasabi ng iba nating speakers, no, like pre-voc, no, more of life skills training, mga ganyan. And now halfway houses, not placing them in a particular setup wherein we help them, no, perform what they are expected to do. No, so I think talagang at present marami talagang pwedeng maging placement, no, yung mga OTs natin. But I wonder lang, Sir Andy, how did the pandemic affected yung services ngayon?
Unfortunately din, dahil nito pandemic, once na dineclare yung lockdown, pati yung management natin, nag-declare din ng lockdown. So, isa sa mga na-declare doon is yung rehabilitation services nga, kung saan kasama yung OT. So, dun sa duration of pandemic, hindi talaga kami nakapaglabas ng patient. Though, sabi nga namin, what we did was to gumawa kami ng guidelines din kung paano nga ba natin kukuhanin si patient nitong amidst ng pandemic na to. So, yung mga COVID measures din sa ganyan. So sa simula, medyo magandang feedback sa kanya. Kaya lang, nung ma-approve na siya talaga, nung i-implement na siya, bigla naman pumutok yung cases natin sa loob. So ang daming cases na sobrang, kumbaga, exponential yung kanyang rise. So yung management ngayon, pinut on hold siya yung activities. So nito lang ng siguro mga 1 month ago, na kung saan nung nawawala na talaga, zero na nga pala ang natin cases natin ng COVID sa NCMH patients. No? So, nakita ulit namin na baka pwede na natin siya ulit ipasa or subukan natin siya ulit na gawin na baka pumayag na yung management na magkaroon na ulit ng activity sa mga patients natin. So ngayon nga, so pumayag naman sila, good thing, pumayag sila, and nasa process tayo ng pag-accomplish ng mga requirements na sinet nila. So ito, gawin nyo to bago natin talaga siya payagan. So siguro, ang puti natin magsimula pa lang this week or hanggang sa next week. So ganyan ang situation natin sa NCMH ngayon.
Yeah. Siguro, Sir Andy, to add lang, sorry, Kix, if I may ask muna, Sir Andy, do you also do online or telehealth in NC?
Ang mandate kasi ng OT sa NCMH is talagang inpatient lang. So sa ngayon limited lang din kami, hindi kami talaga kumukuha ng patient na outpatient. So limited kami sa inpatients kasi nga yung bulk din. So sa ngayon 800 patients, at least nung pre-pandemic, na bago mag-pandemya, around 800 patients ang naka-refer sa atin sa OT. So ganoon siya kadami. So hindi rin natin kakayanin yung bulk kung kasama natin dito yung labas o yung mga yung community.
Actually personally, as an intern who went to NCMH, I nakita talaga, actually for a lot of us here na nag-intern sa NCMH, especially for those who are who studied in Luzon, we can see na ang dami talagang patients na talaga needs mental health attention. Now, with that, nakikita ko rin in currently practice, in our current practice in the Philippines, medyo nag-grow din ang telehealth, not just in pediatrics, but also probably in mental health. So, Sir Jerry, would you want to share with us then po yung mga personal experiences nyo there in Ward 7?
And okay. So Ward 7, as I mentioned with the speakers, no, we were temporarily put on hold a month after nung original announcement, around after March. So March to yung first week of April, talagang naka-lockdown lahat. We actually had only 2 patients left sa admission ng Ward 7, pero the order back then was wala munang direct patient contact. And since PGH was designated as a COVID referral center, ang nangyari, shinif actually yung mga staff. So like kami, we had to report as safety officers, we had to report sa the COVID wards. So that actually gave us a lot of dilemmas at the beginning kasi we brought up yung concern na paano yun? We have patients admitted kahit na dalawa lang, but we can't attend to them, pero we have to attend to COVID mga referrals. But of course, it is what it is kasi yung demand sa hospital at the time. So it was at that moment na wherein tapos yung mga staff ko, no, si Eileen Romero at si Leora Ceril, talked about how do we start moving people on. Kasi at the time, we also had trainees na put on hold kasi nga biglang lahat wala eh. So it was when I brought up yung concern na, alam nyo actually merong telepsychiatry program yung department. In-existence siya mid-2000 pa eh. Kaso, kami before, with yung kasama ko before si Eric Hernandez, we only used it for DRR. At the time, with si Dr. Ignacio, yung mga disaster areas, diba, sa Quezon, yan, sa Ormoc, yan, doon namin siya ginagamit. Kasi hindi namin mapuntahan, so we had to go remote. So I sort of utilized yung strategy. Although ang una naming na-encounter na problem was walang infrastructure. Meaning, we had old broken down computers, internet was very slow. Pero sabi ko, we'll have to make do with what we have. Kasi number one, at least, since ayaw pa nila ng face-to-face sa patients, we can enable naman yung sessions kahit papano if we utilize distance na delivery ng service. We have the mechanisms in place, wala lang tayong gamit. Tapos at the same time, yung isang function namin which is to train OT, sabi ko, pwede nating pausarin. So I consulted actually si Lyle, si Sir Lyle Duque, okay? Kasi sabi ko, meron na ba tayong go signal para, yung mechanism na deliver ng OT services? And I also asked si Sir Anthony Gresha. Incidentally, si Lyle was batchmate ko sa Ward 7 internship, so it was very easy to talk to him. Tapos si Anthony naman was one of my first students when I became a supervisor, kaya madali rin kausapin. So, they gave me yung guidelines, yung interim na guidelines din ng PRC, ng CHED, and of course ng PAOT. So that was when we formulated and we presented ito sa mga schools who were affiliated with us at the time. We informed them na we plan to consult yung students first, and if yung mga students, approve sila with that, and approving institutions, we could implement it. Para umusad yung aming delivery ng service sa patients and umusad yung aming training. So a month after, around May, we started yung program. So it was very successful. Kaya lang maraming adjustments that we had to do. Kasi like one of them was yung quarantine, it limited everyone, yung social distancing, di ba? Na-limit ang number of patients we could see at a time. And one of the major delivery services we had was yung groups, as Ma'am Tess mentioned. Suddenly, we couldn't really hold groups kasi hindi naman ganun kalakihan yung aming lugar. We held small groups. So, maximum ng 2 hanggang 4 people lang in a 25 square meter area. Tapos, siyempre, we had to teach them all the basics first of how to protect themselves in the COVID times. No? hand washing techniques, face mask, face shield, iwasan yung mga unnecessary contact, at even yung pagsalita ng malakas, ganyan. And it took everyone longer to prepare for everything. Kasi you had to set up, sanitize everything. You had to, dati pack away lang. Ngayon, you have to sanitize everything na naman. So, ang preparation and clean up after, almost double, if not triple, yung oras. Add to that yung limitations, yung of procuring materials. Yun lang, at least our students were pretty innovative, ginagamit nila. Sinasagad nila yung gamit ng mga mga Grab, mga ganyan, 'di ba, yung mga padala-padala. So we have to make do with what we have. Tapos we have to also teach, 'di ba, website manners, how to utilize yung and troubleshoot yung mga problema sa teleconferencing and different platforms. We also encountered concerns about syempre ano yung acceptable na platforms. Kasi for example, ang Messenger for general personal communication, okay siya. Pero sa PGH, in terms of delivery ng service, ayaw nila ng Messenger. So we had to do with Viber or Doxime or Zoom. Yun lang yung acceptable Fortunately naman, PGH also provided us naman with yung aming UP Mail and yung premium na Zoom account. So, kaso ang isang primary limitation pa rin namin yung connectivity. As of now, I'm still in the process of negotiating pa rin sa IT department to install yung mga portal sa amin para hindi namin kailangang loadan. No? Kasi we actually had to pay for yung connectivity namin ourselves. No? Buti na lang isang kasama, si Ma'am Ai, meron siyang sariling unlimited account. But it can only go so much in terms of yung bandwidth. So, we had to make do with those things. We had to shift the training model. I actually, this year, turned over yung training program temporarily kay Ma'am Ai at kay Ma'am Laura kasi mas equipped sila, sabi ko, to deal with yung ating students right now, yung modality, maybe yung patience, maybe yung technique. And I had to concentrate on other aspects of delivery and service. So, we've been successful naman. To date, we've had, I think, 5 batches na napatapos na using yung aming tele-internship na program. They're very good in handling them. Tapos, we've serviced yung mga patients namin. Although, ang patient capacity namin has been actually limited to 25% initially nung third quarter of the year. And itong last quarter, we're pushing towards 50%. We have a 23-bed capacity. So, maximum lang ng 12 patients a day ang pwede naming makita. While ako naman, personally, I have put myself into the consultation liaison program. So, due to the effects of the pandemic nga on people in general, I've been assigned to different wards, no? Yung mga COVID positive, may other comorbidities who experience mental health issues. So, that's where I am concentrated right now actually. I have patients sa pedio ward, sa Cancer Institute, surgery, ganyan. And I cater to yung mental health needs. Kasi we have to expand the services kasi hindi na lang siya limited to inpatient psychiatric. We had to broaden yung coverage namin. And one of the difficult things was before, syempre with the physical presence of trainees, we could always involve them. And mas malawak yung aming nako-cover in a smaller na time element. Pero ngayon, since wala kaming trainees na physical present, kami personally, 3 staff, nagka-cater to whoever we can. In reality, hindi namin realistically mako-cover lahat as well as we could before. But we make sure at least now within the week, lahat naman ng designated sa amin na nakikita pa rin namin. Another major shift, yung aming delivery ng services sa outpatient before. Before kasi we catered to general adult population sa outpatients and child and adolescent, no? It was temporarily put on hold kasi like I said, yung infrastructure, unfortunately, yung connection is not readily available. Although I am currently in the process of negotiating with the OPD and the Child and Adolescent Service to secure a space for us sa OPD na department where we can execute yung delivery ng telepsychiatry. Ako rin, personally, as the head of the section, I've catered to staff ng PGH kasi inopen yung telepsychiatry program for healthcare workers. Kasi yun yung isang nakitang need ng PGH, no? As we take the toll and burden of taking care of all of these patients, who takes care of us? Diba? So ako together with the heads of the other sections and departments, we have taken on shifts para maging available for any healthcare worker within our system, of course, who needs mental health consultation. Siguro one final addition lang. Actually, at the start of the year, since merong secret donor daw, supposedly ang PGH, na magtatayo daw ng building, yan, for outpatient services. We were fortunate the Department of Psychiatry was fortunate to secure actually 3 areas. It would have been the new home of Ward 7 allegedly. So we were given a bigger area for the inpatient service with bigger capacity, including yung revitalization ng partial hospitalization, parang inabanggit ni Ma'am Tess, no? Sort of a transition na space. Tapos yung outpatient dapat mas ma-open siya, and of course yung ating child and adolescent. And yung outpatient included sana by the initiative of our chair yung adaptation supposedly na PGH ng isang parang maliit na municipality within the Manila area, parang i-adapt siya na community as siya yung parang CBR na arm ng department. Except that yun lang, unfortunately because the pandemic happened, naka-put on hold muna lahat ng plans. But that was supposedly where we were trending. Yung outpatient namin, we were gonna shift from the day center work service. We had the day center work service that functioned as yung parang pre-book and vocational program before. We were going to bring it sa community sana. We were gonna bring yung service there. We were gonna visit the community. We were gonna train people there. Yun lang, unfortunately, like I said, na-shelve lahat because of the pandemic. So, yun, ang daming plans, including isa pa pala, toxicology that was supposedly to answer nga yung, kasi actually that was one of the requests ng supposed secret donor. Diba? With the current trend of yung drug rehab nga and substance use and addiction psychiatry as we term it sa department. Kasi hindi lang naman substances yung kina-addikan ng mga tao ngayon. That was supposedly one of the areas which were going to be given to us doon sa bagong area. So, we were supposed to delve into all of those things except until siguro ma-lift itong quarantine or so, medyo na, and of course until maitayo yung building, medyo naka-on hold lahat yung iba. Pero for now, we have yan, tele-psychiatry services for healthcare workers, inpatients, for starting na yung outpatients once ma-secure na nila yung space and yung connection for us. Tapos yung consultation liaison, yung mga other wards with comorbidities. Yun yung what we have right now.
All right. Thank you for your insights po, Sir Jerry. No? So ngayong pandemic, no, we had to make a lot of adjustments for a lot of us. Especially, nakikita ko na, may nakikita ko on chat na nag-share about her experiences then on how mental health is practiced during this pandemic period. And it's been really tough. Especially, no, as like Sir Jerry, he was training students, interns, and probably volunteers that are working to help our mental health sa outpatient, no? So with that in mind, no, we would like to ask our speakers, can you share us naman about what do you love in the practice? You've shared, all right, so what do you love in the mental health practice? Like, what can we look forward to ganon if we are to practice in mental health? And what do you think are the strengths or good aspects of this area? And what are the existing challenges as well? Ayan. So, who wants to share their insights first po?
I think Ma'am Tess wants to go first.
Hindi,
Ayan.
walang
Yan.
walang nagsasalita. Ay, kanina, when we started, I already expressed that I really love to practice in mental health. Why? Because an OT, ang unang-una is you must have the heart to provide services to any persons in need. No? Kasi as an OT, you must have the compassion. You must be able to empathize with them. No? Show your true self. Although we use a lot of use of self when we approach our patients. Kasi dun din yung genuineness and all that. Kasi kung hindi mo kaya yun, sabi ko nga, it takes a type of personality to be working in mental health area. Kasi you must have the courage to accept the person as he is, not being judgmental. No? Madali kasi, madaling makita pag may physical disability, makita mo. But what about those with mental health concerns? Pero if you have developed a clinical eye, alam mo na kagad kung may problema yung tao without asking. Malalaman mo na pag kinausap mo. No? And that is the beauty, and that's the thing I love. Kasi I become real. Doon ako nakikita yung sarili ko when I deal with these patients. Ang una kong sinasabi sa infants, do not be afraid of them because they are persons. They are persons, kaya lang they have concerns. It's a concern that, you know, that they have difficulty in interacting with other people. So you have to, you know, let go, allow them to let go of this, allow them to feel that they are in a protected environment, that they can be accepted as they are. Kasi mahirap gawin yun, di ba? But then if you yourself is genuine, and ito lang yung pwede ko ibigay, then you can do that. A lot of the things that we do in mental health is for that persons to become independent, no? Kasi there's training. Ang unang-una dyan, we establish routine. So, tutulungan mo sila to how to live their day. And that in itself, malalaman mo that you have done something. I-order mo from the moment they wake up to yan. So, parang ikaw din, you are, kung ano yung ginagawa mo sa sarili, yun yung tinuturo mo din sa pasyente mo. Hindi mo inaano yun. Kaya ito yung need kasi niya eh. And techniques, use a lot of activities, use a lot of groups. Mas mahirap pa nga mag-pedya eh. It's very nakakapagod na nagfo-floor activity ka the whole day. But here you are interacting with psych patients. Sabihin na natin, sinishare ko lang, isa-share ko na yung experience ko in PMHA. Ano yun? These are different persons interacting with each other but they have different diagnoses. Pero, hindi sila tinitingnan as with schizophrenia. You deal with them as persons. And you provide services or yung approach mo is according to yung individual. Hindi as a whole. Although you have group activities, pero if you're assigned to that person, one-on-one with you. And your personality will always be there. Kasi malalaman, they're very sensitive. They know, they can feel that you are real in what you are telling them. No? Kasi hindi ka pwedeng mambola kasi alam nila yun. Hindi mo sila pwedeng bigyan ng yung hope na hindi naman totoo yan sinasabi mo. Kaya you have to be real yourself. And that is the practice in mental health, the genuineness. Your true self as an occupational therapist, that you are there. I am here for you. I am going to listen to you. Diba? Yan yung inaano natin. The listening ear. Yun, maano yun eh. Very strenuous at the end of the day kasi ano yan eh, feelings yung involved. Unlike pag physical activities and all that. Mas nakakapagod makinig sa kanila. Pero, at the end of the day, you reflect, what did I say? Ano ko ba, na-communicate ko ba yung gusto kong sabihin dito sa pasyente nito? O dito sa tao na to? Kasi sana nga dapat hindi natin sila nililabel as patients. We label them according to their needs. We call them by needs. No? Hindi sila by diagnosis, but by needs. We all. So, nagiging ate ka, nagiging mami ka, di ba? Nagiging kuya ka sa kanila. Kasi gusto nila na maka-encounter yung tao who will be there for you. Yun, that's the beauty of being in mental health practice. Kasi ano rin yun for you? Pampastrengthen mo rin as a person. Yeah. Yun ang masasabi ko. Throughout the years, ha? Na laging sinasabi. Kasi may mga interns na nakakatawa. Ay, ma'am, kasi ganito yung gawin mo. There's always a best approach for each of them. Pag nakuha mo na yun, then it will be easy for you to interact with them. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Well,
Iba
I
naman,
think
oo. Yes. Yung iba naman.
Okay. If I may just react now before we proceed to Sir Jerry raising his hand then. I think what places us, no, or parang what keeps us, no, from doing what we love is parang the way we connect, no, with our clients. Na parang when we are part of their journey, no, not only in therapy nga minsan eh, no, sometimes even outside therapy, no, parang we get to know them. Parang that also strengthens, no, the passion, no, to actually serve, no, and stay in this area of practice. No, kitang-kita kay Ma'am Tess eh, no, from the screen na even if hindi pa niya nasasabi, I think lahat ng other experiences pa niya, parang I think bulk of it is really about being genuine. No, and I think the passion to serve the people follows, no, with that. So thank you, Ma'am Tess, no, for sharing that with us.
Thank you,
No,
Ma'am Tess.
yeah. How about you, Sir Jerry?
Ayun. I completely agree with yung sinabi ni Ma'am Tess, no. I have a little parang motto for this eh. Para maging effective na OT in mental health, you have to understand the science and you have to understand the sapiens, sabi ko. So, and actually, ang mauuna dyan is understand the person, di ba? Sabi nga ni Ma'am, we're talking about occupation, di ba? What is meaningful, what is significant. And that is the best part for me sa mental health eh. You listen to life stories. Di ba? Buhay ng tao eh. So hindi ito problema lang or sakit lang or di ba? Kung anong kondisyon yan o anong gawain lang yung tao. Diba? Empathy is one of the first things which is taught to us eh, para maging efficient ka na OT. So, intindihin mo yung tao. Listen to that person. Alamin mo ano yung pinagdaanan niya, di ba? Ano yung context kung saan to nangyayari. Kasi hindi mo, or magiging mahirap para sa'yo para tulungan siya if hindi mo na-recreate mabuti ano ba ang nangyayari at nangyari sa kanya. So, the science is important kasi of course, we have to look at evidence, we have to look at what works, we have to look at yung course and prognosis of these things, we have to see ano yung mga proven strategies, pero walang patutunguhan yon unless we understand the person first. So like I said, the beauty when you interact with the client is, di ba, you're not just looking for these symptoms, these signs, these problems, and you're not just looking at kung ano-ano mga techniques or mga standardized tools ang iyong gagamitin, di ba? Makinig ka muna. Tapos, sabi ni Ma'am Tess, you look at the person, di ba? I understand ano yung pinagdadaanan niya para makita mo ano ang tumatakbo sa isip niya, bakit ganun ang kanyang naiisipang gawin, ganun ang kanyang naramdaman. And consequently, as Ma'am Tess has also consistently emphasized, dyan papasok yung personality mo, yung style mo, di ba? Kasi not everyone works the same. Not everyone conveys their problems the same. So you have to be true. You have to be genuine. You have to have a sincere concern for that person na supposedly you are presenting yourself as tutulungan mo. No? So if you are able to do that, makikita mo if you actually make a meaningful impact in that person's life. And hindi siya measurable by any standardized tool or anything. You will see yung kanyang motivation to get more control sa kanyang sariling recovery. You will see that person's search for continuous meaning sa kanyang life. And that's when you'll know nakakatulong ako. Diba? And your role there is hindi lang yung I'm the expert and I tell you what to do or so, kundi I take what I know based on what you give me, I set things up for you, so we enable them, diba, to learn yung kanilang effective coping so that they can solve their own problems. Diba? Yan ang ating isa sa mga role dito eh. Once we help them gain a little more insight into what they do, the real recovery or pro-recovery, as we say, moving forward, no, when sometimes hindi feasible for them to go back to what they had before, comes from them. Diba? Galing sa kanilang sariling will, sa kanilang volition, and that drives them to look for ways to put meaning back into their life. That's it.
Wow. Thank you for that, Sir Jerry. So if I may react for a bit now, we can relate in a sense na the science is important because, it gives us a basis para sa evidence-based practice and all that jazz. But what really, as OTs, no, or more than as OTs, but being human, being with them, no, what can create a deeper impact, as what Sir Jerry said, is being with them, yung creating a connection with them. And for us to create a connection with our clients, no, nakaka-resonate, diba yung sinasabi ni Sir Jerry na kilalan natin siya. We need to be genuine in such a way na we need to put ourselves into the person's shoes. And it's a wonderful takeaway na talagang, siyempre iba-ibang tao, iba't ibang personality. We need to get to know them through their feet, through their eyes. And from there, let's offer them their support. To be with them in their healing, for them to be the best that they can be. Diba? Ayan. Yun yung nakuha ko personally for Sir Jed. It's, wow, wonderful insight. Now, how about you, Sir Andy?
Okay, so ano ang nagustuhan ko dito sa setting? So, yun yung natin. So, ako naman, yung psyche na tinatawag, yung the human psyche, diba? So, yung how the psyche works. So, yung kung paano siya na-influence ng environment, na-influence ng experiences niya, and yung syempre yung kanyang innate qualities din and abilities. So, paano siya na-apektuhan ng kanyang mental illness, diba? So, sa ating sa OT nga, lagi natin nababanggit din dito, di ba? So, function, di ba? Patient-based function. So, dito nakikita natin yung kung gaano ka-complex ito, di ba? Kung gaano siya ka-complex, kung gaano siya ka-abstract, and kung gaano siya ka-challenging. So, makikita natin isang tao na sa outside, wala siyang normal siya on the outside pero nakita mo yung struggles is actually inside. Diba? Yun yung mga sinasabi rin nila Ma'am Tess kanina at saka ni Sir Jeremy. So, ito siguro yung naging ito yung naging interest sa akin dito sa setting na ito. So, ito yung naka-hit ng soft spot ko, kumbaga. So, kaya hanggang ngayon siguro nandito pa rin ako sa site. So, ano yung mga good aspects nitong setting natin ngayon? So, mental health setting kasi is actually, meron siyang spotlight ngayon di ba? So, ano natin, yung mental health ngayon is actually being recognized na siya. So, nabibigyan na siya ng pansin ngayon, di ba? So, mas na-appreciate na siya, mas naiintindihan na natin siya. Mas dumadami na yung mga mental health advocacies natin dito, di ba? Mental health programs. Diba? Nitong pandemic, kahit sa social media, makakakita ka talaga ng paano i-maintain ng maganda ang ating mental health, di ba? Pre-pandemic naman yung campaign natin about sa depression, di ba? Ilan yung mga nagkukumit ng suicide at yung mga programs natin tungkol dito. So, ngayon pa na meron na tayong mental health law, di ba? So, actually, ang natin dito is just a matter of time talaga para makita natin yung mga or maramdaman natin yung mga significant changes pagdating sa mental health, no? So we are getting there step by step kahit na medyo baby steps pa siya. Pag minsan bumabalik-balik pa nga. Pero kung tama yung direction naman rin yung pinupuntahan ng mental health practice ngayon, di ba? So eventually doon din tayo dadating. Diba? So ganun siya. Threats naman sa OT. Siguro kung ang sa akin ang magiging pinaka-threat sa OT sa mental health is kung hindi na tayo makakuha talaga ng mga practitioners na makakapag-fill ng ranks natin. So, baka dumating yung panahon na mawala ng interesado dito sa setting na to. Tapos unti-unti siya mawala din. So, huwag naman sana gano'n. So, maraming salamat din sa PAOT at through this course, itong OTalakayan natin na to, nagkaroon kami ng chance ngayon na kumonect din sa iba't ibang mga practitioners natin ngayon, di ba? Na to try out itong setting na ito. Sabi nga naman, Tess, hindi ito for everybody, di ba? Pero baka naman, nandun na kayo sa interest na rin, di ba? So, ganun siya. Okay, challenges naman, sabi naman challenges ng setting. Actually, napakadami pang challenges. So, hindi lang siya basta sa OT naka-challenge natin sa OT dito, pero yung sa mental health as a whole, di ba? So, kung i-compare natin ang ating practice dito sa Philippines, napakalayo pa niyan. Kung lalong-lalo na ang comparison natin sa mga nasa developed countries, di ba? So, malayo pa tayo dun sa to full implement yung mga recovery models. Though sabi nga natin, sabi nga ni Ma'am Tess kanina, dito kami nagsimula community-based, di ba? So, though meron tayong mga packets of success na tinatawag, pero hindi yung coverage niya, di ba, is talagang hindi pa rin enough para ma-cover natin yung buong kaubuuan ng mental health sa Pilipinas. So, ang sa ato doon ay kumbaga yung transfer nga yung pag de-institutionalize ng mga mental health patients natin from hospital to the community is actually napaka-importante. Isa sa mga challenges yan, di ba? Paano natin siya from the hospital to the ilalagay nila sa community at doon makapag-function sila na maayos, magagawa nila yung mga bagay na sabi ni Sir Jerry kanina, yung meaningful sa kanila, yung what's significant para sa kanila. So, yan yung mga malalaking challenges natin. So, as being OT, sabi nga natin, ito yung work natin, di ba? Makita si patient doon sa natural environment nila. Makita natin kung saan nangyayari itong occupations na to. So, yung strength dapat, yung kung paano natin i-develop yung capacity at yung capability natin para to answer itong challenges na ito, to answer mai-address natin itong pangangailangan natin na ito, is talagang nandun pa din. Okay. So another thing na gusto ko i-point out is yung isa pang challenge natin sa mental health dito sa ating mga OT is para makapag-develop din tayo ng sarili nating sistema or standard of practice na para dan sa mga Pilipino lang. So kung papansinin natin, lahat ng mga models na kinukuha na natin is sa abroad yan, di ba? Na maaring hindi siya akma talaga sa mga Pilipino. So, isa yun sa mga pwedeng challenges ng OT sa mental health, di ba? So makagawa tayo ng according to the context, OT sa mental health according to the context of the Filipino. 'Di ba? So doon pwede tayong mag-develop ng sarili nating mga tools, 'di ba? Tools sa kahit na sa mga uh, uh, assessment tools, pwede 'yan, 'di ba? So na magre-reflect kung ano bang meron sa atin sa Pilipinas, 'di ba? So paano natin i-address ang stigma dito? So paano natin paano tayo magtuturo, sabi nga, paano natin iibahin yung outlook ng society towards mental health. So ayan yan. So kung anong mga program ang meron dito at saka ano yung mga resources na available. So yan yung mga nakikita natin at least doon sa malaki-laking challenges ng kinakaharap ng mental health. Pag tinignan mo siya sa sa lugar ng yung mga medyo immediate, ang lagi dyan budget. Doon makikita yan, budget. At saka yung manpower. So sabi nga ni Sir Kix kanina, 10 to 12% lang ang ano natin ngayon, ang mga practitioners natin sa mental health. So, nakita natin yung medyo malawak ang mental health dito sa Pilipinas. So, yung 12% na to, kailangan madagdagan pa to, di ba? So, kahit ka madagdagan siya ng 50%, tingin ko kulang pa rin, di ba? So, yan yung para sa akin. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, like there's a gap pa talaga no, in the practice of mental health. And I think with the other areas...
Napakalaki pa niyan. Oo. Napakalaki pa niyan.
Yeah, so we hope to have more practitioners in the future. And with the experiences shared by our speakers, I hope the practitioners in the audience, tsaka yung mga students, sana ma-inspire sila to actually engage in this area of practice. Ang daming pwedeng gawin with this particular area. So maybe we can ask one of our future OT, so our reactor, Bri, how are you so far with the inputs or parang yung mga shinare ng ating speakers?
Yes, I have a lot of things actually that I can personally relate to. And there are a lot of things that I've learned from the discussion sharing that the speakers have been talking about. So here in Cebu, we actually have a few psychosocial centers or psychosocial settings that cater towards psychosocial needs. These are halfway houses such as House of Hope. We have your DSWD Haven, a regional haven for abused women and children, as well as Home for Girls. And yes, and as well as Vicente Soto Rehab, the psych ward. And then, we've, as early as like second year or third year college, we are exposed to mental health. We are able to observe these patients. And yes, it's true that there is a stigma around these individuals. Even as us, as early as students, we already say di ko yan kasi ang hirap talaga, like to think that you have to deal with actual people dealing with actual problems. And us as students, we're still struggling dealing with our own personal problems. How are we able to help these people return to their daily life? And yes, and that's also what I've learned, generally, I've learned that over the past few episodes, it really is important to be able to provide intervention by keeping a level head. If you're not able to keep a level head, stable emotions when providing intervention to these individuals, you won't be giving them the best form of intervention. You won't be able to put out the best example of yourself. So learning from the other episodes, mindfulness, yoga, we are able to teach these strategies to your individuals who are also struggling with mental illnesses, mental disabilities. And yung sinabi ni Sir Andres po, yung challenges din sa current practice sa occupational therapy dito sa Philippines na we are not as developed as other countries. Personally, I've always wanted to work here in the Philippines mainly because I hope to improve or give what I can to help the Filipino people, especially for those individuals who struggle with mental disability. Since it's a really big stigma here in the Philippines nga, okay, you have depression, just shut up about it. Or no, you're not anxious, you're just stressed out, you can go sleep or whatever. I've heard those things being said to me, being said to my friends. Can you imagine if you it was being said to individuals who are already struggling and they don't know the way out? And as an occupational therapist, we are equipped or we are taught of specific strategies. We are able to provide intervention to them through the use of your occupations for them to create habits or establish a new routine for them to return to independence as much as they can. And yes, it's also important to be culturally sensitive as well to these individuals. So yes, I've been learning a lot from this discussion.
Ang ganda, no?
Ayan.
Pag yung mga students, parang ano na sila,
Uh-huh.
sabi nga nila, woke na sila. No? From
Woke na
this,
nga.
with this reality. No? I hope, you consider MH practice once you get that
Yeah.
license.
Yes.
Alam, alam mo, just naisip ko parang the future is bright in mental health practice. Hearing her insight. So maybe, you know, our fellow students who are joining our session today could, baka yun din ang iniisip nila. So, wow, thank you for that insight. Thank you for that insight. Ayan. Culturally sensitive practice. Something we need to expand more as we grow on in our practice. Ayan. So, with that in mind, no, we are giving time for our audience then to share their thoughts or insights. Would anyone want to ask a question to our speakers? We are giving time for you. Yeah, please open your camera and yan.
Hi, good evening.
Okay. Hello, Mamini. Ayan.
Hi,
Pa-spot na rin si
Mamini.
Mamini.
That's my son, Rod. No, I'm joke. So anyway, I'm just wondering, listening to this discussion, maybe one of our activities in OTalakayan is, sort of a workshop maybe or something, just to probably guide the younger occupational therapists and what their area of practice in OT in mental health, something like that, or OT in community mental health. And then I think I've just met wonderful people in this session right now, and I think it was in during our convention, the 50th year. Was it our 50th anniversary in Paot? And after my presentation, I was informed about a certain occupational therapist working in Australia, and I'm so happy that he's actually here. And yeah, he's also doing remote occupational therapy, and this is what I mean with the workshop. Or Ma'am Tess, maybe you can guide me with this, that we can probably share in that workshop the best practices from different areas um, of OT in mental health where we have practice, because it's sayang, like for example, Mr. Perdon, I think he's got gems of practices there which he can share with us. And I would like to share with you an experience also. I was in Africa that time, and I attended a community based rehabilitation workshop. And in the workshop, I did not know that this person is a well known author. And then she was asking about 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 raised commodes and all that. So that week I just came from the community, from the bush, and we were having problems on what to do with latrines. Are we going to use black bags? Are we going to use reeds and all that? And in this particular community based rehab workshop, we were asked about raised commodes. So I raised my hands and asked, why are you asking us about raised commodes when we even had a problem with latrines? We were thinking about reeds and all this and that. And so there I lost my appointment with that renowned author because I think I just got canceled because I really reacted during the workshop, no? So like one gave a comment here that in mental health we shouldn't, we shouldn't really depend on, I'm not this okay, we shouldn't fix our minds on, oh, what tool should I use, na hindi mo na alam kung anong gagawin mo kasi wala kang tool. Makwento ako eh. So I had also this experience. I was in the bush, Kalahari, in the Kalahari, and then I was so excited because I just met Michael Iwama, and I just came from the WUFOT Congress, and I had all these brilliant ideas. So I was there working with the San community, the gods must be crazy, that community of the gods must be crazy. And all of a sudden, okay, let's think about the river. And these people were looking at me like, river? We live in the desierto. And I was talking about the river. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? So I decided to shift the flow of my discussion of my paeklat na, okay, oh, river, the dunes, the flow of the wind, the trees, the leaves, and all that. So see, because I was so fixed with the tool, with the model, that I went there with the sun community talking about rivers when there were no rivers. You know what I mean. So you have to know the context of the population, and then work from there. We had other big organizations, bringing in goats, bringing in really expensive modalities to help these people, but we failed. Then I just sat down with them and asked them, what do you really want to do? And they just want, what they wanted? They want to make bracelets, they want to make anklets. So I went back to the city and bought a truck full of beads. I think I spent 5,000 US dollars for that, just for the whole community. And I tell you, in 5 years, before I left the country, they sent me money to buy more beads. And of course, USAID wasn't happy because I wasn't using their money anymore. And I told them, why should I be using our money if the community has its own money to buy the beads? So see, we spent thousands of US dollars for goats, for gardening. Why will they eat lettuce if those green grass are for the goats and the cattle? Why would we give them goats to for them to what to earn when they hunt for animals? So in 1 month's time, naubos ang 100 na goats, kinain nilang lahat. See, because we're working top down instead of bottom up. So I'm sorry, guys. I really like to talk. So yeah, that is my experience in Africa on mental health. So back to you, Mr. Hostess. Yes, thank you, Ma'am Cass.
Yes, thank you. Can I say something about assessment? Okay.
Go
Kasi nga,
ahead,
di
ma'am.
ba, I was trained early, no? There were no batteries. Hindi pa uso yung mga assessments na yan, standardized. The most important thing that you should be good at is your initial interview and your observation. Kasi from those two, you will get a lot from the patient already. Just talking to him, you already can look at his affect, how does he express himself. And we use activities. So you can observe him while he's doing an activity. So those are two things that are important for us. Kaya nga, we're so dependent now on these assessment tools, which are not even, yung norms at not based on Filipino norms. No? So, maganda yung sinasabi niya na culturally sensitive way to evaluate. Maganda yung sinabi niya. At yun din ang challenge ko nung kay Jeremy before, sila ni Dudes, do something something about OT in mental health in the Philippines kasi kayo yung nandyan. So, develop something kayo sa NCMH. So, yun yung challenge. So, yun lang yung gusto kong sabihin. Kasi, we are very resourceful as OTs. So, we can, through that, just the interview, initial interview and observation, you can get a lot from the patient. Although, hindi, ano naman na kasi ngayon, tinuturo natin na because it's there. Pero noon, yun lang yung ginamit namin. Kaya, very keen, nadi-develop yung clinical eye mo when you observe. Kasi tinitingnan mo lahat yung ginagawa ng patient. Hindi ka busy dun sa checklist mo and all that. You're not anymore focusing on your patient, on the person in front of you.
Sir Jerry, Sir Andy, do you want to also react on that? Okay,
Mhm.
Sir Jerry, go ahead.
Ayun. Yun ma'am. Actually, yes, yung challenge was accepted po, ano. And we brought it up with the department na. So actually, I think yung department in partnership with, kung di po ako nagkakamali, DOH and ano ba ito? DO, uh, basta yung research arm for ano for the DOH has already initiated yung national registry po for mental health clients. Kasi yun po ang na-determine nilang pinakakulang, especially in the Philippines. Wala po tayong clearly established data on mental health clients and their needs and what is being done and what works with them. I myself have been part of two small studies over the past couple of years. One was done in Cavite Center for Mental Health, yung efficacy po nung OT program. And I think medyo maganda naman yung pinatunguhan kasi I think nagsisimula na sila. I think with De La Salle na magpatakbo ng something there. Kasi before meron sila pero nawala daw. But ever since we did that study, I think medyo na reinvigorate na siya. Tapos with the department naman po, we also initiated yung um, program para po ma-establish yung database. Kasi yung nga po yung problem sa atin, kulang po tayo ng data. So without that initial data, mahirap po magsabi ng ano yung best practices. So kasi wala tayong pagkukumparahan. So the mandate of the department actually which started this year nga was to establish that national registry. I think ang NCMH din po supposedly na designate na with the passing po of the mental health law, no, na ma-convert din into something like that. But in line din with yung shift ng PGH into almost full electronic medical record keeping, that would facilitate yung ease supposedly of these researches. Kasi yun daw ang isa sa kailangan before natin ma-determine kung ano nga yung parang best evidences for practice na talagang ang context is yung ating Filipino culture. Ano po.
Okay, thank you, Sir Jerry. Okay, Sir Andy.
Ma'am Tess, challenge accepted po. Yun lang.
And I think hindi lang siguro sa inyo, Sir Andy and Sir Jerry, no? I think to all the occupational therapists, no, in the country, no? Because I think it's also our duty, no, and mandate to actually promote then mental health, no. Okay, so we still have enough time, no, for one more question. So this question we receive, no, via our questions crew. No, so here's the question. So can you give examples of other healthcare facilities where it will be great to have a mental health practice? And can you briefly describe those facilities in terms of, if possible, salary, okay, workload, and working relationships? So I think this person is asking if there are other placements na pwedeng mag-try yung mga ating OTs and yung mga future OTs natin. Okay, surgery. Sige po.
Actually, I think part of UP, UP's program, if I'm not mistaken, was to establish yung mental health service not just for ano nga no, for those diagnosed no. I think we in line with yung students. I think somewhere in Diliman, ganyan. So again, looking at yung mental health of students and possibly staff as well. Tapos like yung na-mention ko kanina, yung sa community, yung plan ng PGH, mag-adapt ng local community and 'di ba hindi siya gawing specific lang to a big institution or a big facility. The plan there was actually to hop from one local health center to another, enabling people there. Kasi nga ang parang grandiose na vision ng department was let's teach people kasi as experts we can't possibly attend to everyone. There's simply not enough of us. Uh, and it will take a very long time for us to train enough people. By the time we train enough people, masyado nang maraming may problema sa mental health. So let's teach who we can, whoever's available, in all places, in line din with yung mental health law, di ba? Ang plan is to put a mental health practitioner in every health center, in every local health center. So ganun sana yung gusto natin. Let's teach them, basic skills. For example, psychological first aid, yung mga ganyan, basic relaxation techniques, basic screening para at least ma-determine who needs what. Tapos yung mga talagang kailangan ng problem, i-refer mo talaga sa appropriate facility. Like sa amin, for example, acute inpatient, yung talagang may immediate threat sa sarili, talagang kailangan ng monitoring sa gamot, diyan mo ipasa. Pero yung mga dito pa lang, pwede nang gawa ng paraan, dito pa lang in acute crisis, pwede nang mag-intervene kahit panimula, uh, it's a start, di ba? So I think ganun yung type of facilities we can start developing. Ang usual problem lang naman kasi ng facilities, they don't have people. So if we could do this with, for example, PAOT, di ba? The World Association for Psychosocial Rehab, PMHA, and other institutions as well, if we can, get little pockets everywhere, train them well, no, we do capacity building. It's a better start than just telling everyone na, oh, dito nyo lahat ipadala sa PGH. Kasi we can all accommodate so much. We cannot train everyone that way, and it would take a long time. But if we do capacity building at the community level, mas exponential yung growth ng delivery ng mental health services. But we just have to be very clear, of course, ano yung levels ng capacities that we are building. And ano yung pinaka-goals natin per facility. Kasi hindi rin naman, of course, conducive na, di ba, yung talagang psychiatric emergency, ipadala mo lang dyan sa health, talagang hindi nila ma-attend yun. I think those are the kinds of things that we should open ourselves to and promote sa ating kapwa would-be mental health professionals.
Thank you for that surgery. So more of capacity building so that it will be exponential when we engage in this setting.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Yes,
Give,
Ma'am Tess.
can I give a comment? Can I be clarified with a question? Is that for employment or for placement as an intern?
Placement for practitioners, those who want to try.
Talagang
Uh,
work na.
yes.
Kasi, di ba, you're aware that one of our problems is the lack of positions in hospitals. Yun na yung lahat eh. We're lucky that we still have at MCMH, we still have PGH. But the other hospitals that I mentioned, nawala na yung mga psychiatric wards. And so we continue to lobby for more OT positions in as much as we can help give, work to our OT practitioners. But one thing is, we must create a need for ourselves. May mga executive orders that are that compel communities to have their own CBR programs. And in that CBR program, pwedeng kung ano yan, kasama na yung programa ng mental, not only mental health, but provide the services for rehabilitation services. So yun yung sinasabi ko. Tingnan lang natin. Like, what's happening in Cebu, marami silang facilities doon. And marami pa, yung mga ginagamit nating placement for students as interns. Pwede, since we are working with the municipality, kasi ganyan yung ginagawa ng cafe, we work with the municipality and ito pa yung pwede natin gawin. And then we move on. We try to develop different communities. We continue developing these communities and create the need for rehab services. Not only for OT. Kasi, ano yan eh, team tayo eh. Of course, uunahin natin, there's a need for OT. Mas madaling ibenta yung OT siguro dun sa iba kasi walang bibiling equipment. You know, ang OT, yung sarili niya, dala niya yung bag niya na may lahat na ng paraphernalia for treatment, dala na. Ang OT, ang PT, mahirap. Ang SP, madali din. Kasi, yan. So, I think we have to create that need for our services. So, yun. So, we continue to lobby. Yun ang ginagawa ng PAOT. We continue to lobby. At yung nakita niyo yung dream natin, diba, for PAOT, what is the vision? How many OTs for this number of population? Diba, Jeff? Ilan? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that insight, Ma'am Tess. Okay. Sir Andy, do you have something to add? Sir Andy, you're muted.
Actually, maganda yung point ni Ma'am Tess at saka ni Sir Jen. So, kung paano yung capacity building. Pagdating naman sa mga facilities na kailangan pa. So, sabi nga natin, ang facilities lagi siyang nasa per need siya eh, di ba? So, kung mag-a-analyze tayo ng isang problem, ano ang kailangan natin? So, tsaka pa lang siya lumalabas. So, ito yung nagiging, ang mga facilities na ito yung mga nagiging solution natin dun sa mga needs natin. So, the question dito is, dun pa sa lugar ninyo, ano ba talaga ang kailangan ng mga mental health patients dyan? So, yun ang mas magandang ano. And doon, from there, pag nakakuha tayo ng need, makakagawa tayo ng solution, di ba? So, pag naintindihan natin yung purpose, maintindihan natin yung papaano. So, makukuha natin dito yung ano magiging role ng OT dito sa facility na itatayo na to. So, kung facility-wise lang, so, napakadami niya. So, ang mas magandang makita natin dito is kung paano nitong facility na to sasagutan yung need natin ng mga mental health patients natin. So, ganun siya. Actually, sinasabi ko kanina na transition program, that is actually an example of facility. Kasi nakita namin sa NCMH na ito yung need ng NCMH ngayon. Kailangan natin ng outlet ng pasyente kasi na-stuck yung mga patient dito eh. So, kailangan natin ng magkaroon sila ng way out, 'di ba? Na parang maging functional pa rin sila, ma-develop natin yung potentials nila. At na wala sila sa loob ng NCMH, parang ganoon. So maging productive sila sa labas, maging independent sila. Yun yung mga goals natin sa OT.
All right. So I think there's a lot of work to do, no, but at least there's progress, no, regarding our mental health practice. Okay. All right. So once again, thank you very much, Ma'am Tess, Sir Jerry, Sir Andy, for joining us in this OTalakayan episode. We truly appreciate your insight, no, and your shared experience. No. I hope it inspired a lot of students and OT. So siguro may key takeaway lang for this episode. Maraming pwedeng gawin, no, ng OT, no, in mental health. No? Sometimes it's a matter of also searching, no, kung saan ba tayo pwede mag-work, no, ano ba yung talagang strengths mo, no, your personality, no. And I think, no, when you try mental health setting, I think it's the connection talaga that we build, no, with our clients, no, and their families, no, that makes us stay, no, in that particular area. So how about you, Kix? What's your take in this episode?
I guess with all the share ni Sir Andy, Sir Jerry, and Ma'am Tess, no, what, yung struck sa akin is, the science is important, no? The evidence is important for our practice, but we need to look into the person first. Yun talaga nakuha ko. We need to look into the person first by your interview, by your observation. No? Marami na makuha. And as OTs, we must have that compassion, the heart, and we need to try our best to really put ourselves into their shoes, to know them by their needs. Oh, yun na. Para yun ang maximum nakuha ko. To know them by their needs. We need to put our feet into their shoes. And, we need to be with them in their path of healing para masuportahan natin sila. Not just them, but the community around it. And there's, ang daming work to be done. And hearing our insights from our reactor, ayan, no? Parang woke na woke talaga tayo. We can see na the future is bright for our practice sa mental health bit by bit. And, yung bawat individual efforts, especially na ating speakers, no? Bawat individual efforts na nagagawa natin, it will accumulate to, opening up new avenues for OTs, such as myself, who are interested in looking and really participating in the mental health practice. Ayan. So,
Okay. So, just final message from our speakers to those who aspire to try OT in mental health. So maybe we can start with Ma'am Tess. What's your final message to those who wants to try MH?
Um, ang aking message is you look at yourself. And if it's really for you, then do it. No? Kasi yung maging OT ka na, you should be happy that you are an OT. And be proud that you are an occupational therapist. Yun ang lagi kong sinasabi at Judicial. Be proud that you are an occupational therapist. And it's your decision in what area of practice you will be happy as well. Kasi kung ikaw yun eh. That's your choice, whether in pedia, in adults, and other specialties, or in mental health. Of course, now we are promoting mental health. But it's not only mental health, but also promoting our profession, occupational therapy. Kasi we can do a lot. And there are a lot of challenges that we will have to do given this situation. Nandyan lalabas yung creativity and resourcefulness. So, yun. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Tess, for that message
thank
to all
you.
OTs.
Ayan.
Okay.
And nakita ko rin, nag-react din si Mr. Dan Perdon. Remember your therapeutic use of self, everybody. Ayan, therapeutic use of self talaga is key. So, how about you, Sir Andy?
Okay, so, hello? Okay na pa. So, ang mental health setting natin ngayon is actually, sabi nga ni Sir Kix kanina, very bright ang future natin dito. So, this is a very interesting time para dun sa ating practice. So, lalo na ngayon, yung effects ng pandemic sa mental health, di ba? Yung direct effect niya, di ba? At saka yung kung paano na-apektuhan yung mga occupations natin, yung pandemic, di ba? Ilan ba ang nawala ng trabaho ngayon, di ba? So yung ilan ang hindi makalabas ng bahay, sabi nga ni Ma'am Tess kanina, isa daw siya doon. So ilan yung mga nasirang ngayon, yung mga nasirang routines dahil sa pandemya na ito. So lahat ito ay mental health. So at lahat ito ay pwede natin pasukan as OTs, di ba? So siguro ko na rin yung opportunity na ito na mag-plug ta din. So pag magpa-plug na ako, ang National Center for Mental Health ngayon, ang dami pa naming slots. So, yung mga practitioners natin sa ngayon na medyo nakita nila na napukaw natin yung interest ninyo. So, pwede kayong mag-apply sa amin. Hindi lang siya OT license. So, pati na rin yung mga hindi pa nakakakuha ng licensure. So, meron kami mga OT technicians sa amin sa NCMH. So, ayun. So, meron siya opportunity. Yung mga pag-concern nyo naman, location, nag-offer kami ng mga dyan. nag-offer kami ng mga dormitories para sa mga malalayo talaga yung bahay. Ayan siya. So kung meron pa kayong ibang concern, pwede kayong pumunta sa amin. Subukan nating pag-usapan yan. Okay. Thank you.
All right, Sir Jerry.
Ako, gasgas na gasgas na. Sabi nila, di ba? There is no health without mental health. Ayan, di ba? But, like I've also mentioned kanina nga, i-promote natin ang mental health, not just for those na diagnosed o may condition na, di ba? Ang pinakamaganda pa rin is if we can help people get mentally healthy, mentally well, di ba? So that they don't have to suffer mga conditions anymore, mas maganda pa rin, right? And for those na meron na, then let us help along para we normalize yung kanilang buhay. Diba? Even if some of those may never really fully recover, they can still live relatively normal lives. Lahat ng even those with physical conditions, diba? Like I said, their mental health suffers. So tulungan natin sila lahat. I've always said I feel like the most fortunate person in the world kasi saan ka makita ng meron kang trabaho ay na trabaho mo tumulong sa tao, di ba? Tumutulong ka sa tao and you are rewarded for it. So there is no greater profession than this for me. Kasi tumutulong ka sa tao and they actually pay you for it, para tumulong, di ba? It's not about the financial remuneration. It's about your happiness because you are helping people. And yet, di ba, people deem you worthy to pay you enough para tumulong sa tao. So, be very grateful that you can help people.
Ayan. So once again, thank you for that, Sir Jerry. So once again, thank you to our research speakers for sharing with us their valuable knowledge and expertise. Thank you to all our attendees din and viewers as well. No? Ang dami nag-react dito sa ating session. Ayan, like to si Ma'am Mini and Sir Dan. And in today's OTalakayan program, episode 5 of the Mental Health series. So our next episode will be next week. No, meron tayo isang episode na naman. This will be our episode 6, Healthy at Home, How Physical Activities Improve Children's Well-Being. Our speaker is Ana Tiungo, who is the managing partner at Fitness B and an OT consultant at Goals, Caloocan and Think Kids, as well as Miss Stephanie Quinones Presto. She is a certified kids yoga instructor as well as in play, no? Participation and learning through activities and yoga. Ayan. So Sir Jeff, would you want to add anything to that? All right. So, maraming salamat din po sa mga nag-donate sa atin during this time of the calamity. There's been a total of cash donations as of, no, ngayon November 29, there has been 38,000 na na-collect. And there's a total amount of 15,000 na released to our communities in Isabela Province and Cagayan. So
Thank you very
to
much,
all those
everyone.
who shared. Yeah, it's been helping families talaga.
And we're still calling for donations. No? So we need clothes, slippers, etc. So you can drop off your donations to Bright Beginnings Therapy Center, 4th floor, Sealand Building at Marikina City. And for cash donations, you may take a screenshot of our poster. All right.
All right. And lastly, please also do not forget to like and subscribe to the official Paot YouTube page at youtube.com/Paot Inc. and our Facebook page for more details and updates. Ayan. So,
Okay. So once again,
sige.
thank you very much to our speakers and to our audience for this episode. Okay, so see you again on our next episode on Friday. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.